Hello from sunny Vienna and a warm welcome to our first release webinar of 2025. Of course, there is much more content within the releases we are able to present within the upcoming hour, so we will focus on the highlights for each module. The slides will be sent out afterwards, and also as soon as we are finished with our presentation, we will have a short Q&A session. So you can type your questions already in the chat, and we will start answering them as soon as we are finished. If there are too many questions, or if we are not able to answer them on the spot, we will hand over the questions to the respective experts, and you will get an email with the answers later on. Yeah, and then we are delighted to be your hosts for today. My name is Sandra, and I'm focusing on core HR at Flexso for People, which means I'm responsible for the modules Employee Central, Recruiting, and Onboarding.
Nice to meet you. My name is Alexander, and I will be talking about the talent modules in this regards for performance and goals, succession development, as well as learning.
Then let's have a look on the agenda for today. So we will bring you the highlights of platform, reporting, and Employee Central, followed by recruiting and onboarding. And then Alex will take over for the talent modules, goals and performance, succession and development, and of course also learning. And as we are in the middle already of the first release of 2025, you can already mark your calendars for the second release of 2025, which will happen on the 13th of October for preview and about 1 month later for the production stack, which is on 14th of November. Okay, then let's have a look at platform, Employee Central, and reporting. But before, we need to do some clarifications of the naming conventions from SAP. So what you see here on the screen in this blue little box is called the profile preview. When you type in the action search a name of an employee, then this preview is opened, and it's the replacement of the quick card, so to say. You already see here some first information, like the telephone number, email, the manager, and so on, always respecting your permission settings, of course. If you click then on this blue spotlight button within the preview, then this screen is opened, and this is called the spotlight. So there you can see you already have a bit more information. You will have a card for the organizational information and also for the reporting line. And of course, still the most important information like contact information, manager, and so on are as well shown. The spotlight is also known as the public profile. And if we click then on the little button on the right next to the spotlight button, then the full people profile is opened, which is the latest version of the people profile from SuccessFactors. So there we can see all our personal information cards and also everything employment related, of course. So why this is important is because the latest people profile is already universally available. Which means in this release, the profile preview, so the first screen we saw, and the spotlight are automatically enabled. So as of Friday, also in your production system. There have been various enhancements made by SAP compared to the previous releases. For example, we now have the direct link to the manager profile with this little postcard icon next to the manager's name. We have a separate privacy statement for the photo usage, and we have finally the contingent worker labels also back for an easy spot of the contingent workers and many more. So also the latest full profile is coming soon, so it's universally pushed within the first release of 2026. So still a bit of a time, but still our Flexso recommendation is to move as soon as possible, or at least to prepare your instance to move to the latest people profile, because yeah, you will have a lot of advantages for it as well. We can now also configure the latest people profile, so we can configure the preview, the spotlight, and the full people profile. And this is how it looks like. So depending on which version you have active in your system, the tool is called Configure Latest People Profile, or if you still work with the legacy people profile, it's also the legacy tool, which is called the Configure People Profile. So you can see here we now have a lot of configuration options. We can add custom cards, which we build also to the standard sections. And we can also show and hide different sections based on permission roles. So now is really the time to prepare the instance and to use the latest people profile. Also, the latest org chart is now automatically on, and we also got an update here. You can now hide the contingent workers on the latest org chart, same as with the matrix reporting lines and so on, which was not possible before. So also here, SAP is continuously working on improving the different views. We also got some updates for the permissions. So I guess all of you already know the role-based permissions troubleshooting tool, which was introduced one of the last releases, which is a really nice feature. But also for SAP, at some point, the name became a bit long. That is why they renamed it to RBP troubleshooting tool now, which is a bit shorter, of course. Yeah, we also got new functionalities there. So the RBP troubleshooting tool is now not only supporting the comparison of two different users, but now you can also compare two permission roles with each other, which is really helpful if you want to keep your permission role structure clean and lean, so to say. The RBP troubleshooting tool now also replaces the view user permissions because it's a legacy tool and we have all the functionalities anyways in the RBP troubleshooting tool, so it's not needed anymore. Yeah, also for the AI features, we got some enhancement. AI is now helping with your translations in the system. If you want to use that feature, you would need to contact your SAP enablement partner because it's in early adoption, so to say. What is it doing? AI is translating the default English UI labels into different languages. Currently, it's only supporting the Bosnian language, but more languages will follow soon. Similar for the translation of pick lists. AI is now helping you in the bulk translation of your pick list content, and you can translate from a source language into multiple target languages. Of course, you can review and edit these translations before you finally save it to the system, to ensure accuracy of the translations. Also, Joule is getting an update, so Joule is now available in the mobile app as well, which is especially interesting for manager self-service, and if you're already using the manager self-service quick action tools, for example. That's it for platform. Let's continue with Employee Central. There we got a nice update in the mass data management because the mass data management tool is now also supporting job information. So this allows editing multiple employees all at once, and I guess it will replace the one or other import activities ongoing. So this is really a nice enhancement for power users, and in the past this was only possible for editing positions, so mass position management, but now already also supporting job information. Then there is important depreciation ongoing. So SAP announced the depreciation of the rehire inactive employees page. This will be removed already after this release, so it's not in your system anymore. Of course, there is still the duplicate check dialog, which you can use, for example, from the Manage Pending Hires tool or from the Add New Employee page, also from recruiting to onboarding, it's still usable, of course. And SAP justified that decision with the info that the duplicate check dialog has many advantages regarding to the rehire inactive employees page. For example, we have more criteria that can be used to find the right matches, national ID, to mention one example. There are more details mentioned in the search results themselves, so you can see legal entities and contingent employment indicators and so on. And of course, you can also rehire an employee whose termination date is in the future, so an employee who is active as of today, but has already termination registered in the future, and this was also not possible with the rehire inactive employees page. So also here are some improvements. Let's continue with reporting. Here, the most important announcement is that the legacy reporting depreciations are currently on hold. So previously, SAP announced the depreciation of the legacy reporting types, like the Pixel Perfect card, the tiles and dashboards and canvas reporting. And this is all now on hold, and they rolled back all depreciation announcements. If you're a new client in the middle of your implementation journey, so to say, and you do not know what canvas reporting and so on means, then don't worry. Our Flexso recommendation is still to go forward with story reporting and create every new report within story reporting. So if you're live already since some time, you can continue to use your old canvas reports. But also here we recommend that you slowly move into story reporting, because we cannot be sure that those depreciation dates will come back at some point. So just to take off the pressure of you to move as soon as possible, but still please think of replacing everything with an appropriate story reporting. And of course, those tools are still out of maintenance, so there won't be any new development by SAP. Their whole focus is going into story reporting and the embedded analytics cloud. For example, we got a really nice enhancement for the story reports, because you can now report on the person-related data in your story reports without the need to enable the biographical information permissions, which was especially a bit of a pain for the manager dashboards, because typically managers should not have those portraits visible, but now it's not needed anymore, which really fills a gap in the story reporting capabilities. Okay. Second topic of today, already within the recruiting module. Also here we have some highlights which we want to mention. For example, the reimagined candidate experience. So the reimagined candidate experience introduces now a seamless, efficient, and user-friendly application process. And it's really designed to enhance engagement for both the internal but also the external candidates. I will not start the video for now, but as already mentioned, the slides are sent out afterwards, so you can watch all the embedded videos also within that presentation. Here just a little sneak peek how it looks like. So it's also now aligned with the experience of the latest people profile to really ensure one smooth look and feel throughout the whole suite, so to say. Yeah, also for the recruiters, there are some improvements for the applicant management tool, for example. We now have a drag and drop functionality in the redesigned applicant management tool that allows recruiters to move candidates across the recruiting pipeline more easily and more efficiently, while still ensuring permissions and business rules to adhere. The drag and drop functionalities support multiple features. For example, you can do a single applicant movement, but also you can do multiple applicant movement. And as said, the permissions are checked and the eligibility is checked as well. Also an update for the standard site URLs for the career site. So within the career site builder, you can now choose to use a standard URL for your career site with a generic SAP domain, so that you don't have to maintain your SSL certificates all the time. And to create this standard site URL, you need to provide a subdomain that's unique to your organization. For example, you can put your company name in there, and the rest of the URL is always generic, and it will be jobs.hr, recruiting.cloud.sap. Yeah, also for recruiting, we got some AI-assisted features and new highlights, so to say. We can now generate a comprehensive insight from the candidate's interview feedback using generative AI capabilities. So the insights are derived from the feedback from the multiple interviewers, which is helping the recruiter to speed up the process a bit because they do not need to read each feedback time by time, but they can just let AI generate a summary for them. Also, the candidates got some AI-assisted features in your career site builder. You can, for example, now add an upload resume component to the different pages of a career site, and that enables then candidates to upload their resume, for example, and find jobs that matches their skills. Of course, for this AI functionalities, there are some prerequisites you need to take care of. For example, for the resumes upload feature, you need to have the Talent Intelligence Hub configured and set up. You need to have your skills connected to the job profile so that they become usable within recruiting. And of course, you need also AI units and licenses to use these features for the recruiting module. Good, let's continue with onboarding. For onboarding, there also have been some improvements, for example, the enhanced document support for corrections. So you can now access the updated documents that are regenerated after the data corrections made during final review step. And new hires can access and download then only the recently signed version. So SAP is really not removing documents, but it creates a version history, and HR can still check the different versions of the documents. But for the onboardees, they can only see the latest ones. Also here, a bit of prerequisites. This is, of course, only possible if you use the final review step in your onboarding process. There have been also some enhancements to the integration setup page. So, for example, there's a new rule scenario added that defines the eligibility for your onboarding initiation. So you can customize this rule now, and the rule evaluates data from the job requisition, from the application, and also from the offer. And when the recruiter is then dragging the candidate into the ready to hire status and would click on the initiate onboarding button, then this rule is running and is deciding if the candidate meets the conditions for the onboarding process. If the criteria are not met, the candidate is directly redirected to the Manage Pending Hires page and onboarding is skipped. Yeah, we also get some improvements for the custom task, for the attachments, for the onboarding documents. So if at some point you would collect attachments and files within your custom task and the onboardee is uploading them, the managers and also HR can now more easily access those documents from the onboarding documents in the new hires details page. So previously this was a bit more struggling. You would need to go in the actions menu and then search for the new hire documents. So now it saves a bit time for HR management if you need those documents. We also now have the poly role-based permission support for onboarding custom task, which allows you to restrict and grant access to a custom task based on permission roles. So within the target criteria of the permission role screen, you can define to which custom tasks this permission role has access. Previously, that was not possible, and if you would have access to one custom task, you would see all of them. So this is also now a big enhancement and make sure that you also can ensure security and GDPR across your onboarding custom tasks. Yes, we are also now able to remove stale to-do tasks and homepage cards on our own. So previously you would need an SAP ticket for this, but now SAP introduced 2 new checks in the check tool. So one is for the stale to-do tasks, which are removed and cleared up, and the other one is for the stale onboarding homepage cards that are cleared up. Yeah, SAP is also introducing now the alumni experience, which is the post-employment system access. So similar to your onboarding process where you get access before your hire date, you also can keep your access after your termination date, so to say. But of course, not the full access, but only to a very limited view of your people profile. So it's really for former employees. They can now access specific parts of the system. For example, if they still need to review and download some important documents, for example, pay statements or payroll and tax-related documents. Of course, also here there is some configuration you would need to do. For example, you would need to configure the access to the pay statements if Employee Central Payroll is enabled, for example. The alumni user type is now available within the RBP feature and also in the managed login accounts. There is a new data privacy consent statement available, and also custom homepage cards are supported. The active period you can base on the termination date. So very similar to the onboarding experience, we now can have an alumni experience if needed. Yeah, and with that, I hand over to Alex for the
Thank you very much for that. So then let's go to the talent part. And in this respect, we start with goal management. Goal management has like the long announced universal rollout now of the latest goal management. This is now universally enabled for all customers with this release. So in case you did not already update it and you're waiting for having that one pushed, please be aware that all of the goal plan templates and development plan templates will be locked, so you will need to convert them before you can work with these again. Also, please keep in mind that there was a change from the permissions for the team goals from the legacy version to the latest goal management version, which leads to the fact that in the latest goal management version, if you had team goals in the past, the permissions are not set anymore, so that you would need to set the permissions for the roles again. But that was like already announced quite a long time, so in this regards should not be a surprise. Besides that one, there's like now all the option to configure the inactive user search in the people selector. So when you're on the goal plan page, you have on the left-hand side the different users or different roles that you have access to, or that you can like check, like your manager, yourself, and if you have like more permissions, then it made sense that you could also like search for, let's say, inactive users, so as HR or as a manager, that you could do that. This checkbox to search for inactive users was, however, enabled by default and visible to all users. For employees, it didn't make sense that much. If they didn't have direct reports, then this was rather causing questions. And now it was added that this is configurable so that you can set for which role this should be shown. Also regarding roles or the role-based permissions, there's now a new role, a role that you can use in role-based permissions regarding the HR manager, the EH role that you can define in the goal plan. Until now, this was based on the direct link in the job relationship, so a one-one link between employee and the HR manager. And this was now changed so that you can use this also as an extended EH role in the role-based permission, so that you can say, okay, this role should have this access, and I assign it to more people. This could be like a topic when you have like a population of a country, let's say Austria. Until now, you would have either used a technical user or you would have only had like one person linked to an HR manager, so that it's like the one-one linking. And now you could have, let's say, 3, 4, or multiple HR user that would have this HR manager relationship to the employee and can therefore, let's say, report as example or have other options what they can do. This, however, did not change that the that role still needs to be configured in the Goldman template. So if you don't have it in the template, in the XML, then just doing it in our role-based permissions will not change something. And that was it basically from the goal management. So let's take a look at performance management. Here, like something that can help with like getting the time for people or like for forms that weren't closed down from HR, or not only HR side, but also let's say from manager side, is that you can now autocomplete inactive users performance forms. This is like not a global setting. This is something that you can set per template. So in the template settings, you have now a checkbox where you can set that one. The setting itself alone is not doing anything. You still also need to set up a scheduled job in the via the scheduled job measure, so that you can set up the job there, and then it's like checking the job if there are inactive users performance forms, and for this template, if it should be then auto-completed, and if it is, then it's auto-completing it. Also, what is coming now is the latest experience of the performance form. It's basically a new UI for the performance form. If you open that one, this is like not changing any data. So in this regards, there is like no direct impact except that it's looking differently. It was pushed on the test system. So if you took a look there, then you would have already seen that one. It's not getting automatically pushed in the productive system. So there you need to decide that one. And it's also quite easy to activate it or deactivate it via the performance management feature settings. There you have like a checkbox and just need to save it, and this is like then immediately changed. This is a global setting, so there you don't have the option to say I want to use it for one template but not for the other. And yeah, here you have like then quite some different views how it's handled. So that you have not the links for a different section, like in the band on the top, but that is now on the left-hand side. You also have side panels that are opening that show additional information that you didn't have in the past. But this is something to check to see if this is working for you. There are already quite some known topics that SAP SuccessFactors is working on. In this regards, we recommend to not use it at the moment on the productive system, because there are still some functional gaps or some topics that need to be updated by SAP before we would recommend to use it on productive. But on the test system, it's easy to, it's activated anyways. It's easy to test, and then you can see if this is already fitting your needs. What is also now getting deprecated is the My Forms page. So when you're like going to performance, in the main dropdown in the module picker, when you select performance and go there to the My Forms page, here we have the replacement of the legacy version of that one. So this is like also already ongoing for a couple of releases. That the option is there and is offering more options. More intuitive page layout, improved search functions, simplified flows to create and match forms, and so on. So this is like really a nice thing, and now it's like getting pushed. The direct access to PM forms through story reports is, from my perspective, closing one of the gaps that we had with reporting. In the reporting part, you have like the dashboards and tiles. And in the tiles, you had the option in the drill down to have like the link there, so that you could click on it and get a pop-up with the performance form. So even if you were not included in the roadmap of the performance form and therefore could not open the performance form normally, you still had the option via this workaround to take a look at the performance form. And as it was planned to deprecate the tiles and dashboards with the second half release this year, this was, from my perspective, the option to have the same functionality in story reports. I mean, now tiles and dashboards are not getting deprecated, but you still have the option in story reports. So if you need that option, you can now build story reports that have the same behavior for that one, and could already like see that you get the dashboards and tiles out of the picture. There's also an enhanced AI assisted writing part. So here, if you have like in the performance form that you do a rating, you could then for the comments part either generate comments based on the rating, but you could also, if you have like already something entered in the comments, improve the feedback. So in this regards, AI can help here to generate or improve comments for the skills, competencies, or behaviors, so that it's easier to write and you don't need to like word too much yourself if you don't want to. Also, what was like, I mean, AI is still like the topic to go, and where not only SAP but also many other companies are working on. And here, this AI-assisted performance insights is one of these parts. We saw it already with recruiting. Also, there were some insights. Also, like in the last release, there were some topic with insights in. So basically, it's like now getting extended to the different modules, so that AI is taking information and summarizing it for the user to get like a better overview, so that you can gain insights into the employee's performance. In this case, it's only working in the latest experience of the performance management form. So in the legacy version, it's like currently not working, and it needs to be that there's a single role step. So if you have only steps in the roadmap where it's like collaborative, or like where there are more users in and not like a single role step, then you would not be able to use that one. So it needs to be a single role step where the manager is in, and then they can click on the generate button for this boost your review with AI powers insight, and the generative AI use various data, being it from the continuous performance management part, so feedback, achievements, meeting notes, and so on. Could also be that it's directly comments from the performance management form. Could be also that it's coming from the ask for feedback functionality, feedback that was provided there. So it's like taking all these informations together, and it's like putting together some insights, but it's only taking the information that the manager would see anyways. So it's not taking anything that the manager would not be able to see, or employees made the comments made by the employee themselves. And video is there, so if you want to take a look later on, then you can take a look how this would look like. With that, I'm finished with the performance management part, and we'll be taking a look at the continuous performance management. So here we had, like in the past, always the topic that when you have like an activity and achievement, and you wanted to link it to a goal, that it was only like the goal of the default goal plan that you could use, and you could only link it to one goal. This was changed. Now you have the option that you can link an activity or achievement to multiple goals from different goal plans, and this is possible up to 20 performance goals and up to 20 development goals across different goal plans, including those from legacy goal plans as well. So if here, like how it's looking, if you want to select for different goal plans to which goal the activity should link to. There's also an update regarding the archived achievements. Until now, when it was archived, there was no option to edit or delete the archived achievements. This is now changing so that you can also now edit the archived achievements. With that, we're coming to the 360 review. 360 review, not that widely used, but also here, this what we had like with the insights. Here it's the sentiment analysis that was added here. Basically, in the 360, you get like feedback from different sources, right? And if people are writing their comments, it can be depending on how it's worded. If this is like now like a positive feedback, negative feedback, mixed feedback, and to make it easier for the user to see what is behind the latest feedback, so what they mean or how they see the sentiment analysis for is like if you start that, then it's like giving a tag regarding positive, mixed, negative, so that you see like on one view if this whole text that is entered there is like positive or not. So it's giving like a short overview about how this is working, and it tries to get the overall attitude of the raters towards the employee skills or competencies, and it's taking the inputs from the skills or competency name, the ratings, the comments, and the rater category as well. And with that, we would be finished with goals and performance, and like take a look at the succession and development part. Here, if you are like a approver for talent pool nominations, a new to-do item was added, so the talent pool nomination card, so that you can view the status of pending nominations and quickly approve or decline nominations directly from the homepage, so that you don't need to go to the talent pool and do it there. This is only for talent pool nominations. For the normal nominations, this is not existing. There's also the exclusion of deleted form ratings. That's something that was already started with the last release. In the last release, it was, however, only done that you could exclude it from the performance potential or how versus what metrics grid reports in successions. On the people profile, you still saw deleted form ratings in these overviews. And now you can also have these deleted form ratings excluded from the mini matrix grids on the talent card and the overview block in the ledgers in people profile. When working in succession, you not only have like a succession org chart, but you can also have this position tile. And in the position tile, based on the number of positions, it could be quite much. So when you were searching for a specific position that you wanted to check, or for positions of a certain department or something, it was not that easy sometimes to find. And this was like now enhanced so that you can add generic objects as filters to narrow down the position displays. So as example, if you're using the department name or the department external code as like as an option for the filter, then you would see the department filter and could use that one to see the positions just from that department. So that's helpful too if you want to filter down from all the positions that you have there. So also one of the insights is this AI-assisted successor insights, so that in succession planning, you can now gain insights for the successors. Button is only available when you have when the position or person has at least one, but not more than 10 successors. In this regard, you go to the position. If this is activated, of course, then you can click on it. The pop-up is coming with like information to the position, with the information to the specific successors that are nominated for that position, and you get like the analysis for this. And the AI uses here competences associated with the position, but also the skills and the competences of the successors, the latest overall performance ratings, as well as the work experience of the successors. So this is like a nice way to put together the data so that you don't need to like go to the employee profile of each of the employees, take a look there, what it is, and but you get like one view where everything is together. What is like also possible is that you can exclude roles from the recommendations. So when you're using a career worksheet and you can now exclude job roles which have a lower pay grade than the user's current roles, so that they are not shown in the recommended roles, but it's only showing equal or higher than the current roles in terms of pay grade. And this new logic is not only like in the career worksheet directly, it's on one hand in this suggested roles, so the legacy version, but it's also in the top matches and personalized path in the growth portfolio. It's also in the explore career options in the opportunity marketplace, as well as in the recommended for you in the home tab in the teams. So there are like different parts of the system where this is like shown. Depending on what you have. If you don't have growth portfolio opportunity marketplace, you won't see it because you don't have it, but once you activate it, it would be used there as well. Also, what was like done in development, and this is also going in the direction that SAP tries to get away from this one-to-one linking, like with the HR manager, but do things more via role-based permissions, so that you now have also, or you can define it that way with the permissions, that you can manage development goals for mentees. So based on a mentoring program, if you're a mentor and you have the correct permissions, you can go in the development plan view, search for your mentee, and then work on the mentee so that you can view, edit, create, or delete development goals for this mentee. And this is like a new role that needs to be added in the development goal plan template. So in this regards, one hand side is the role-based permissions, where this option is not there. Another topic is that you still need to put it also in the XML code. Good. With that, we are coming to the learning part. Also, learning, there's quite much going on. I mean, the deprecation of the Legacy Learning homepage is like coming with the next release, so almost around the corner. When this is happening and the new universal push will be there, please be aware that the legacy custom pages, so created with the landing page setting page, will no longer be available on the new learning experience. Only the new custom pages are supported. And to assure that there's a smooth transition, it would be good, or we recommend that you start adoption of the new learning homepage prior to this second half release 2025. One topic that was like quite a pain for many that already tried the new version was that in the library search, you had to, like 2 releases ago, put exactly the name and search only for the name. With the last release, have the option to search by category. But what was there in the legacy version, that you can just search without anything, that you go in and find everything, was not possible. This was like now, this functional gap was closed with this release. So now you can browse the entire library without entering a search value or selecting a filter, to not have all of the development lost from the filter category option. This is now also something that you can have in there, so that when you click on the drop down where learners can choose, then browse by category, browse all. So that's something that you can set up if you want to always browse all, have that one, or if you want to have the browse category and browse all as option to select. Also, something that was like a bit of a pain point with the new search was that it was taking quite a while to update the information, or that the search results were showing information that was updated for items. And now there is a near real-time update to learning entities in enhanced search. This is like it's stated that changes made to learning activity entities and reference entities are now reflected in the enhanced search results of the libraries in near real-time being a couple of minutes. If it's just like not too many updates, up to 30 minutes normally. If you have like more than 10 entities that you change at the same time, or updating curricula thumbnails, then it could also take a bit longer. Please be aware that this is something that is not following the normal release dates, but this is like a bit after the normal release. So in this regards, we had like the release and test system on 14th of April, and with the 5th of May, they just started to activate this near real-time update function on the preview systems. So in this regards, there's like a bit of a delay. And it's then, as it's done by data center by data center, it could also be that on your preview system, this is not already updated, but in the learning backend, you can check because there's like an on setting that is shown if this is already complete or not. What is now also shown are the optional curricular assignments available in the ILX. So if you have a curricula, you don't need to have like all of the items in there as required. And the optional curricular assignments were not shown until now, but now they're shown in the important learning section on the new learning homepage. And the required curricular assignments still appear in the required learning section as used to. There's also now the optional surveys that are available in the ILX. So if you launch the optional service directly, you can launch them directly from the new learning homepage. The services are now displayed in the request for me section, and you can also remove them as they are optional. Doesn't matter if you do it or not. And if you remove them, then the admin can also track the number of the removed surveys along with assigned and completed surveys. So there's like for the backend in the service a new column where you can see that. Also, something that was like coming in with the last release was the topic of audio training reminders. Originally, they already tried that you can like edit these reminders. Then they deactivated the edit option. You could only like send reminder to employees, but you did not see what was really sent. That was like just the standard text that was sent. And now, if you give the managers the correct permissions, there's a new permission for that one. You can customize the individual OBDU training reminders when you send them from the team view. So here you can send it to one or more team members that need a reminder. The subject and the message can be overwritten. If they are like the standard text, then it would translate or it would use the language that the employee uses. So if you see it as a manager in English and the employee uses German in the system, then he or she would get it in German. If you see it in English and then you write over the text, then the text would stay. So then it's like not translated anymore. But still a nice option to not have a standard text that you don't see, but see what it is, and then also have the option to make it more individual. Something that was like also coming in now is a download of the learning history to a PDF file. That's something that is an option for the employee, so not for managers or delegates or proxy admins. But if you're going to the learning history page, then you have like a link, a button to say download, which says download. And if you're like click on that one, then a PDF is created, including all completed activities, regardless of the filters you have applied. Just please be aware if you customize these standard LMS reports and you did it like one by one and not like in general, then this is like using one of the standard reports, the learning history, and if you did not customize that one, then it would also not customize it accordingly here. There are also then AI features for learning added in the AI admin page. So if you have AI, you also have the AI admin page where you can say what should be activated, which AI functions. You don't need to have everything activated if you don't want to use these things. And for LMS, there's this assisted skills inference for learning, but also the assisted skills association with open content network items and the assisted image generation that can now be used for LMS. So here from the page that they have like now an own section for the learning where you can activate that. And with that, we are through for learning as well. So.
Yeah, then let's check if we have already questions in the chat and start our Q&A session. Perfect. So the first question is a platform question. So I will start with answering it. Can we disable the profile preview? Unfortunately, that's no longer the case anymore. So it's a universal push and everybody has to use it as of this release. But as the profile preview is replacing the quick actions and you only see those limited informations you configure, I guess that should be fine.
But I think there was also like the same question basically for the spotlight as well. So, but I think the answer is the same.
Answer stays the same, correct. So also this was universally pushed, so spotlight cannot be disabled anymore. But you do not have to click on the spotlight, so you can go directly from the preview with this little icon to the full profile. So you do not need to take 3 clicks till you're on your people profile. You just can skip the spotlight. if you know where to click, so to say. I think that looks good. Then thanks everyone for joining. I hope you had some nice information, some great information which you can take home with you. And then we wish you an early lunch break. And thanks for joining.